The invisible hand of pandemics has sculpted human history, leaving indelible marks of devastation and transformation. This unseen power has reverberated through the ages, impacting societies on a global scale. Pandemics, these widespread outbreaks of disease, have often been the silent architects of our past. Throughout history, we've seen the rise and fall of civilizations, greatly influenced by these invisible scourges. 5 pandemics stand out in their magnitude and impact. First, the Justinian Plague, a pestilence that swallowed the Byzantine Empire whole. Then the Black Death, a catastrophic event that reshaped Europe entirely. Smallpox followed, decimating the Americas. In the early 20th century, the Spanish flu emerged, underscoring the importance of public health. And most recently, AIDS, a pandemic that's been with us since the early 80s, continues to teach us about prevention and the strength of healthcare systems. From the fall of empires to the rise of public health, pandemics have played pivotal roles in our collective story. Rewind to the 6th century, the world was in the grip of the Justinian Plague, a pandemic that reshaped the course of history. In the heart of Constantinople, an invisible menace was brewing, a bacterium named Yersinia pestis. This unassuming microbe held an unprecedented power of destruction, laying the groundwork for a catastrophe that would last for more than 2 centuries. The Justinian Plague was not just a health crisis, it was a catastrophe that disrupted the very fabric of society. As people flocked into the city, the plague found a fertile breeding ground. Poor hygiene and overcrowded living conditions amplified its devastating effects, leading to a death toll of over 30 million lives. The Byzantine Empire, at its zenith under Emperor Justinian, was brought to its knees. The plague decimated its population, crippled its economy, and left an indelible mark on its history. This was not the last time humanity would face such a foe, but it was a stark reminder of our vulnerability. The Justinian Plague, a dark prelude to a recurring nightmare. Fast forward to the 14th century, the Black Death descended, followed closely by the lethal wave of smallpox in the 16th century. This was a time when the world was grappling with the relentless march of disease, and humanity was its unfortunate pawn. The Black Death, named for the grim color of the victims' decaying bodies, was a devastating pandemic that struck Europe with a vengeance. Originating in Asia, it was caused by the same culprit as the Justinian Plague, the Yersinia pestis bacterium. This malevolent microbe traveled via fleas on black rats, hitching a ride on merchant ships and spreading like wildfire across the continent. This ruthless pandemic claimed the lives of approximately 75 million people over a span of 10 years. The death toll was so immense that it caused a significant economic crisis in Europe. With a large part of the workforce wiped out, fields lay fallow, trade dwindled, and cities turned into ghost towns. The Black Death was not just a health catastrophe, it was an economic disaster that left Europe in ruins. But the onslaught of disease did not stop there. The 16th century ushered in another deadly pandemic, smallpox. This time the villain was a virus. When Europeans set foot on the shores of the Americas, they brought with them smallpox, an unwanted guest that the native population had no immunity against. The virus swept through the Americas, decimating 90% of the indigenous population. This massive loss of life marked one of the most significant demographic shifts in human history. Smallpox was eventually eradicated in 1979, thanks to the creation of the world's first vaccine. This marked a turning point in our battle against pandemics, highlighting the power of science and collective action. These 2 pandemics underscore the destructive power of disease, forever altering the global landscape. They remind us of our vulnerability, but also our resilience and our capacity to fight back in the face of adversity. In the 20th century, humanity was once again besieged by pandemics, the Spanish flu and AIDS. It all began in 1918 when the world was gripped by the Spanish flu, caused by the H1N1 virus. Originating from an unknown source, it swept across the globe, leaving no corner untouched. The Spanish flu was a grim reaper, claiming at least 40 million lives in just a span of 2 years. What made this pandemic so terrifying was its unpredictability. Unlike most flu viruses, which typically pose a threat to the very young, the very old, or the weak, the Spanish flu had a peculiar tendency to kill young, healthy adults. But the Spanish flu wasn't just a health crisis, it was a wake-up call, highlighting the importance of public health and the dissemination of correct information. The pandemic underscored the dire need for robust health systems and paved the way for innovations in disease control and prevention. Fast forward to 1981, the world faced another pandemic, AIDS, caused by the HIV virus. Unlike the Spanish flu, AIDS wasn't an airborne disease. It was transmitted through unprotected sexual relations, infected needles, and from mother to child during childbirth. Despite this, AIDS spread like wildfire, especially in parts of Africa, where public health infrastructure was lacking. Since its emergence, AIDS has claimed over 25 million lives. It served as a stark reminder that diseases can't be fought with medicine alone. Behavior change, prevention, and strengthening the healthcare system are just as critical in the battle against pandemics. The AIDS pandemic also highlighted the power of science and collective action. The development of antiretroviral therapy has transformed AIDS from a death sentence into a manageable chronic condition. And it's not just about treatment. Thanks to global efforts, we've seen significant strides in prevention, from promoting safe sex to providing clean needles. The Spanish flu and AIDS, stark reminders of our vulnerability and the power of collective action. Our history with pandemics, while fraught with loss, also offers valuable lessons. From the devastating Justinian plague to the far-reaching AIDS pandemic, history whispers wisdom. It tells us of the importance of hygiene, the power of a single bacterium, and the danger of large population movements. The Black Death, the most lethal pandemic to date, underscores the economic implications of health crises. It shows us that pandemics are not just medical issues, but socio-economic ones too. Smallpox, once a deadly virus, was eradicated through the development of the first vaccine, demonstrating the power of science in combating diseases. The Spanish flu, on the other hand, emphasizes the importance of public health investment and accurate information dissemination. Lastly, the ongoing battle with AIDS stresses the need for preventive measures and a robust healthcare system. In the face of invisible enemies, we must remember, knowledge is our weapon, unity our shield, and resilience our victory.